Thank you for listening to this Belly Up Sports Podcast Network product. Some said we go belly up, so we made it our name, and we're still here.
Welcome back to another astounding episode of the Scoreboard Addicts podcast. I'm Nick, and with me, as always, is TJ, who is hammered, and Anthony, the Rook. And
what
gentlemen,
it is, boys?
How you doing?
What's going on, Nick?
Yeah.
Not too much. So wait, what happened? The audio didn't come back through that great?
It came in a little fuzzy in the beginning.
Yeah, you know, lately with the soundboard, for some reason on Zoom, it just doesn't. Our song is too powerful for it. Zoom cannot contain the sound that is the Scoreboard Addicts podcast theme music. So that's why it does that. That's why when I first bought the soundboard, I was like, does that sound right to you guys? And you're like, yeah, it's fine. StreamYard, good to go. Zoom, it's too
Not so
powerful.
much.
It's too powerful. But we're here. We're going to do a quick episode. We're going to honor a gentleman that has meant so much to countless football fans across the nation. The voice of football to a lot of people. And you know, that's how I feel. I can hear his voice in my head, and I think that's so special. But John Madden, we lost John Madden yesterday, and the football community is in mourning. And gentlemen, what are your thoughts? TJ?
It's amazing to forget how stellar of a career he had as a coach. I mean, that's almost like an afterthought, thinking about how awesome he was as an analyst and breaking down plays for us, because he allowed you to be the average fan just watching a game and understand defense, understand offense, understand, they're going in a 3-4 package here. He broke it down for where you understood play calling a little bit if you weren't paying attention too much. But again, the guy, I mean, as a coach, 10 years, he was with the Raiders. I think his statistics was he won 3 out of every 4 games he played. I mean, if that's not insane, I don't know what is.
Like a 750.
Insanity. Yeah. And you know what? An absolute stud of a coach, only 10 years, which is crazy considering, I mean, we watched him for over 20 something on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's to be able to flawlessly go from, being a ridiculous head coach. I mean, a winning head coach like that, and then go right into TV and just take off and be the voice of football. Him and Pat Summerall were the voice of football, and you look forward to listening to them. And I think the only person that compare, and I know I'm going to catch crap for this, but the only seamless transition like that we've seen, I really believe, is Tony Romo, just from going from the field to just sitting there day one, predicting, like, all right, this is what they're going to run. This is the only thing they can run right here. Watch, it's coming. I mean, I think that, again, Tony Romo didn't have the career, the numbers like Madden would, obviously different situation, coach versus player. But Tony Romo, great quarterback in his own right. And then to just seamlessly go to TV, and then the contracts that guy's getting thrown at him because he's amazing. But I think John Madden, the best that ever did it, the best that will ever do it. I'll listen to John Madden. I'll listen to John Madden commentating me going to the bathroom. Let's put it that way, because it would come out stellar.
You going to the bathroom or his commentating?
His commentating. I mean, he would make it interesting. Like, okay, he's going with the 2-ply today with the paper. All right, I think that's Downy soft. We're going in with it. Okay, that's a clean white.
Look on his face there. Boom! it's in the end zone.
Oh, man, he reached back and he delivered on that one.
And what do you think?
So my thoughts on John Madden when I heard that he passed away. Sorry, am I a little too close here?
Yeah, a little bit.
Sorry. When I heard he passed away, I was like, oh my God, like John Madden. Like, I know people are going to look at it like the video game. Like, that's like the main takeaway, which it is. I mean, it's a big, part of our like society. I guess it's like a big culture thing.
Definitely our age group, Rook.
Yeah, and our age group especially. But like, I remember just like turning on the football on Sunday as a kid and just hearing Pat Summerall and John Madden. Like, it was like, it just felt great, like listening to them. Like,
Everything was an event.
Yes, it was. And it was incredible. And not even that, like, that's what I remember him as, because obviously when he coached, he was in the 60s and 70s. We have no idea how he was, but when you look at the stats, like him and Ken Stabler, I mean, they were incredible. He has Ken Stabler as quarterback. They win the one Super Bowl. They probably could have won a lot more. But I was looking at the record, like he never had a losing season throughout that entire time. And it was just incredible. I mean, it's an incredible run for a coach. He only coached for 10 years. But just that alone, I think he has the best record at any coach who ever coached over 100 games. I think there's only 100 coaches ever coached over 100 games, and he has the best winning percentage. So that alone just shows how important he was to the game. And absolutely. I mean, incredible talent, icon, legend, all Madden teams. And this is what I most remember of John Madden, though, after all the football, is the Turducken.
The Turducken.
Turducken was great. Like one year he came out, he showed the Turduckens. If anyone doesn't know, it's a turkey with a duck and a chicken stuffed inside of it. Yeah. It's a chicken and a duck.
And a duck.
And a duck into a turkey, and then that's what he would eat. And he had like the 6 legs on it because of the 2 legs for each animal. And then the year after that, my dad got a turducken for Thanksgiving for dinner. It was delicious. So thanks to John Madden for the turducken.
It's God.
What's that? Say again?
That has to be like a crime against God to do that. I'm not like a vegetarian or anything like that, but like taking one dead animal and stuffing it inside another dead animal, it seems wrong.
No way.
It sounds wrong.
Dude, if you could patent that, he'd be a multi-billionaire just off of that.
You might think that's what happens when you're at the top of the food chain, Nick. You get to do whatever you want with the chicken. Sorry.
Just lower the mic a little bit.
I'm going to take your carcass. I'm going to stuff it into that carcass. And I'm going to stuff it into that carcass. I'm going to cook all you motherfuckers together.
Buy the whole thing and boom, that's dinner. John Madden for me is, I always think as a kid, you're right. We didn't get to see him coach. The one thing I think is very impressive, though, is that he went from being linebackers coach to being the head coach the following season. That's a big deal. Like to me, I mean, that just says everything you need to know about him as a coach, that you can go from being the linebackers coach. And mind you, back then, they didn't have 45 coaches on a coach.
I was going to say, was there an offensive coordinator and a defensive coordinator, or did the coach run the offense?
There was, but you just got to think of it more like there wasn't a positions coach for every single position. There wasn't a special teams coach. Like our special teams coach is a fairly new thing. That was just an extra detail for like the defenders, the defensive coordinator. But for me, John Madden, I didn't grow up in a football house. My family really didn't watch football that much. So for me, John Madden, my first exposure to John Madden is in Little Giants, when he makes that cameo appearance with all the other NFL, most of them whom are now Hall of Famers, but then were Pro Bowlers, and going, oh wow, this guy's good. I remember him from commercials because he does video games, and then on top of that, Madden. Like I said, I didn't grow up in a football house. I learned about football from playing John Madden football. John Madden 2001. My sister got a compact 20 years ago, and that compact. Say again.
Compact Masario?
Probably, yeah.
Those were all the rage.
Yeah, and it came in colors. They were like the Max. They came in different colors. Hers was purple. And it came with the entire EA Sports or EA Games suite. So I got Tiger Woods Golf, MVP Baseball, John Madden Football 2001. Actually, it wasn't MVP Baseball. It was Triple Play back then, if you remember that back then. I got Need for Porsche Unleashed. And I got another game, The Sims, and I got The Sims, like probably the original Sims. And I popped in John Madden Football 2001, Eddie George on the cover. And that was my exposure to football. Like my only football, like playing, watching style, like as a kid, other than that was NFL Blitz. Because like I'm Puerto Rican. We don't play like you look on TV now and you see a lot more Spanish names at a football game. But like when we were kids, there might have been like 2 guys in the entire league that were Mexican, maybe. Or like one guy that like his great grandfather was Cuban, so his last name was Garcia. You know, like Jeff Garcia. He's Mexican-ish, kind of, I guess. You know, but he got red hair and white skin. You know, like
Tony Gonzalez
was like the only Mexican in the league. You know,
yeah.
And then maybe like another offensive lineman somewhere along the way. But point being is that I learned about football from video games, and up until I played John Madden Football, I played NFL Blitz. So I thought a first down was 30 yards. Because in Blitz, first down is 30 yards.
Yeah, it is. That's hilarious.
And I got that free game with that computer, and I played it, and I learned about the I formation. I learned about offsides. I learned about pass interference. I learned about all those things because of this game that he lent his name to.
Yeah.
And I just think that he's had such a people talk about, oh, we know him a lot more because of the video game. And that might be true, but that's because the video game has outlasted his entire career. Like, he's not doing games. He wasn't commentating games with Pat Summerall anymore, but kids today still know what Madden is. Even like when Steve Madden started dropping shoes in the late 90s, I was like, is he related to John Madden? But John Madden had a profound effect on Americana.
Yeah, I would say my other 2 points, John Madden, is I always loved that he was on the bus, that he didn't like he couldn't take a plane, so he always took a bus everywhere.
I remember the Monday Night Football, the Madden bus.
The Madden bus, yeah, that's.
Remember that.
And then the other thing too is I didn't realize Fox actually did a documentary on him this past weekend, I think, with their coming up.
Yeah, a couple days right before he passed.
Right before he passed away. I think they're re-airing it this weekend. I actually said I missed it, so I'm gonna.
It's gonna be on ESPN Plus too.
Oh, it is. I have to check that out.
They're going to be playing it on ESPN Plus for 24 hours.
Oh, really? I have to check that out.
It's on Friday.
Okay. Well, then everyone check that out because John Madden, incredible football icon. It'll probably be a great documentary, just honoring the life of a great football mind and great football legend, basically.
Somebody asked the other day, "What's the best call from John Madden the best game that you ever saw him call?" I said Washington Sentinels versus the Dallas Ropers. Falco
replacements all day.
Halftime, won the game, took them to the playoffs. Replacement players.
Yeah, I forgot about that. He actually called the Super Bowl with the
bike, and then you get a fat guy dance.
He called the Super Bowl between the Cardinals and the Pittsburgh Pittsburgh Steelers with the Santonio Holmes catch.
Yes, he did. And you're right. Whenever you heard Pat Summerall and John Madden's voice, you knew something special was going to happen.
Yeah, it did.
And again, I can still hear their voices in my head. And I love what? I'm really appreciative of the fact that they're both in the replacements, because if you ever miss them, just throw that movie on.
Yeah.
And you don't have to sit there and go, well, I know what's going to happen in this game. Yeah, you do, but it's a movie, so it's kind of fun still. But Telestration. Talk about TJ. You were talking about him like making it easy for a fan to understand. I saw somebody else say that on Twitter today. The conversation was like, John Madden knew more about football than most people breathing. But when he was commentating with that telestrator, he could break it down to somebody that never even knew that a football was oblong.
Absolutely. He could break down the X's and O's like nobody's business. I mean,
but he didn't break it down at a X and O level. He brought it down at a Barney level.
No, he broke it down. Right. He broke it down, and I'm going to take this circle. This is the guy I'm talking about, and he's going to cut and find the hole right here because he's following this lineman who's setting a block. And it was just simple. It's easy to understand when you're doing a circle and a line with a little arrow at the top.
Everybody else would be like, he's going to hit the A gap, and then this guy's going to hit the B gap. That guy's going to crash the D gap. And anybody who never played football before is like, what the hell is an A gap?
Yeah.
It's like watching hockey and not knowing what the 5-hole is, but they say it the whole game, and you're like, is anybody going to explain this to me? Like, I'm watching the hockey game. That's why I said that. But
so am I.
But John Madden really did break it down. Telestrations were my favorite thing in the world. He made that crap like marketable. I guarantee you there's some executive sitting there going, this is never going to work. And John Madden's like, I got this. Don't worry. Have you seen my arrow drawing skills? Watch this shit.
Well, I guess we
John Madden. One last thing. Tough acting to acting.
Oh, yes. Yes, that's right.
Dad used that stuff because of John Madden.
Boom. Tough acting to acting. He's circling the knees and stuff. That was incredible. But I guess we will move on. Rest in peace, John Madden. Absolute legend.
Legend.
And let's talk about your guys, New York Jets and Zach Wilson. I think he's I'm not a Jets fan, but seeing from him, I think I'm actually impressed by him. I think he's getting better every week. I thought last week was pretty good against the Jags. I mean, nothing against them. The Jags aren't that great right now, but I do think he's improving. And let's talk about good guy Zach. I know you guys are Jet fans, so I'll let you guys tell the story.
Yeah. So Zach Wilson on Christmas, and honestly, I thought this was a little bit in my head. It was kind of sad, but then I thought about it in retrospect. He's not at home, so Christmas Day he goes out for like breakfast or brunch with his mom and I guess a friend to a diner.
His whole family, his siblings and stuff.
Family?
Yeah, it was his siblings. Yeah.
Like 4 people sitting in that booth.
No, I thought I saw more than that.
Oh, all right. Well,
She posted more than that.
yeah, I don't have Instagram. So
Yeah, on her Instagram. She posted a lot more people.
wait, hold on. Did she make it public again?
Now it's still private. I got in there just in time. My queen, Lisa Wilson.
That's what she said.
I got in there just in time. So he goes to a diner. He's wearing a Jets hat. Now, I just want to point out that I haven't seen an athlete, at least not a New York athlete, wear the team's gear on his off time since Braylon Edwards. And I'm not just talking about the Jets. I'm talking about every team. I've never seen a Yankee go out in the town when he's not representing the Yankees and wear a Yankee hat. I've seen like Knicks wear Yankee hats, but I've never seen a Knick go out wearing a Knicks jersey or a Knicks sweater. But I've seen them wear Yankee hats, but Braylon Edwards used to wear Jets hats everywhere. He loved it. Like coming from Cleveland and coming to the Jets, he loved being a Jet. And Zach Wilson is wearing like the ski cap with the Jets logo on it. Some lady at the diner sees him, and she's the waitress, and another worker at the diner says, "Oh, that guy plays for the Jets. Doesn't your son love the Jets?" And she's like, "My son does love it. He plays for the Jets, really?" She had no idea it was Zach Wilson. Because and T, you and I talked about this. Humble guy going to a diner. He makes millions of dollars. He was born into a family that has money. Now, I don't know if his uncle's money trickles down to his family. I don't know that. There's plenty of people out there like Aaron Rodgers. Like I guarantee you, his nieces and nephews ain't making money off of him.
Not no more.
You know what I mean?
That guy hates his family.
Just because Zach Wilson's uncle owns JetBlue does not mean that Zach Wilson's family has money from JetBlue. His uncle owns it, not his father.
Usually people that are rich hold on to their money. They don't give it to other people, even in their family. That's how they stay rich.
Exactly. So that's how you stay rich. Exactly. So he goes and the lady goes, "Oh, you're on the Jets. My son's a huge fan." And basically he's like, "Call him up." And he does like a thing. And then he's like, "All right, here's an autograph for you." She goes, "I always wanted to take him to a Jets game, but I couldn't afford the tickets." He goes, "Really? Because I have 2 tickets right here." She's like, "Seriously?" He's like, "Yeah." And I think we've all seen the video at this point.
Yeah.
And his mom posted the video. It wasn't like here's a time for, and I'm sure he does stuff like this all the time. But nice guy Zach going out there making somebody's day. And what pissed me off about that was a whole bunch of people going, "Oh, great. He gave her tickets to Jags versus Jets. Great game to go to for your first."
It was a great game.
Okay. Super entertaining game. Super entertaining. All right. And then B, who cares? Who cares if you've never been to a game before? The starting quarterback of a New York team just gave you free tickets. His tickets. Even if you don't go to the game, keep that ticket for the rest of your life. It's called memories. Memories forever. Her son will remember forever that Zach Wilson, the quarterback of the New York Jets, gave him tickets to a Jets game. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's life-changing. That's imagine Derek Jeter gave one of us tickets to a Yankee game in like 1997. Imagine,
awesome.
It'd be tremendous.
It would be crazy, right? So,
yeah.
You think they were good tickets, or you think they were like the Jets were kind of like, listen, you'll get better seats if you stop throwing interceptions.
If they're his tickets, they're probably in a box somewhere with his family.
They were his tickets. Yeah, they were his own personal tickets.
But for nice guy Zach, round of applause for nice guy Zach.
Nice guy Zach Wilson.
And worse, whether however you feel about it, he made somebody's day on Christmas. That lady had to work on Christmas. He made her freaking Christmas. He made her mom of the year for Christmas. Like, imagine your dad got you tickets to a Yankee game and a Yankee gave them to him and was like, "Hey, watch, look, here's the Yankee that gave me the ticket." You'd be like, "What?" That's cool.
That'd be sick.
What are your thoughts on that?
Dude, I love it. I mean, I like seeing stuff like that. I hate the immediate reaction afterwards of people trying to pick it apart. Like, "Oh, you're trying to do that for publicity." And it's like, get over it. Yeah, that's what he did. He walked into that diner knowing that, like, listen, I'm going to give somebody tickets and make myself look like a great guy. That dude was going in for a friggin' bagel or a pancake or something, a cup of coffee, and decided to do
it was
something
a diner.
nice.
He was going for chicken parm at 2:00 in the afternoon. No,
dude, like, people want to just go out of their way to pick it apart. It's like, he did a nice thing. Fucking honestly, if it was a PR stunt, who gives a shit? He did a nice thing, but it clearly wasn't a PR stunt. If you took 2 seconds to watch the video, it wasn't a PR stunt. He made somebody's day. He went out of his way to do something nice, something that he didn't have to do, put it out there. It was like, "Hey, come to the game."
And his mom is the one that posts it. And I'm pretty sure he offered to give her money to get rid of Instagram. So like it's not, if you look at his social media, all he does is praise his teammates all the time. He's not about himself. I think the kid has a good head on his shoulders. He looks a little
Absolutely.
like Elroy Jetson, and that's okay. That's because his boy Elroy, he'll be my boy Elroy. I'm all right with that. But moving on to the game, tremendous game from him, and again missing a lot of his quote unquote weapons. And when I say weapons, I mean the guys that he has to throw to, because really he only has like 1.5 weapons, 2 weapons. He's got Michael Carter behind him, and he's got Elijah Moore in front of him, because Corey Davis has a bad case of the Butterfingers. He's got the drops. I don't care what anybody says. He's got the drops. He's missing 3 out of 5 of his offensive linemen for the game. COVID protocols, 22 players and their head coach on the sidelines. You know, they're out. They're out, you know. And guy played well. And the thing for me was, you know, hey, it's he played well enough to win, didn't make mistakes, made the plays he needed to.
I think the key was they established the run early. I think Michael Carter had a great game. I think he was flying that game. He was picking up 8 yards at a clip. I loved seeing that Zach Wilson run for a TD. What was it, 56 yards? 52 yards. I mean,
and 56 yards because he took a couple yards back first.
Yeah, I think that he escaped the pocket a couple times that game, but you know what? He had the awareness to get out there, scan the field, and realize he had some running room, and then coming down the sidelines and kind of like, all right, these guys are going to pull up a little bit so they don't take a 15-yarder. I'm going to keep going. Go ahead, hit me.
You know what I like? He puts the ball out of bounds.
Yeah.
But if they do hit him and he fumbles, it's out of bounds.
Yeah.
I've seen that happen a few times this year. But the Jets won. A lot of people mad because they got worse draft position, and that's okay. You can be mad about it. Honestly, I think that the growth of Zach Wilson is more important than any player you're going to pick. So if winning on Sunday against Trevor Lawrence, a guy he's going to be compared to for the rest of his career, makes him feel better about playing this Sunday against Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback who ever played the game, hey, I'm all for it. If they win this Sunday against Tom Brady and Zach plays great, oh, we got worse draft position. He beat fucking Tom Brady. Be happy.
I don't even think that he has to beat him. I think he has to come out and play well and trade offense with offense. I mean, listen, we've seen the Bucs. The Bucs defense is a joke. They're a team that's going to just try to outscore you, and that's it. So I think if they can come out and put up points against the Bucs and build on the confidence, I think that's all we need to see as Jet fans. We just want to see a quarterback develop. And how do you develop? You play. You get in there. You make mistakes, and you learn to read defenses. And I mean, the time spent in the pocket, it's like flight time for a pilot. You got to get behind the wheel or the stick, and you got to do it. And that's what he's doing right now. And the more time he spends there, the better off he'll be. But if you can build confidence along the way and start doing right things and taking steps forward, I mean, that's all we can ask for as a fan. We obviously know we're not making the playoffs this year, but if we can build towards something that, I mean, that game alone, even if they lost that game, he made big strides. He developed that game as a quarterback, I feel like, and it just instills a little bit of confidence as a fan saying, hey, this could be our guy. I mean, this might be our guy for the next 10, 12 years.
Competently.
Yeah.
But talking about the Bucs, the Jacksonville Jaguars have requested to interview Bucs offensive coordinator Byron Leftwich for their vacant head coaching position. Rook, give me some thoughts on your Jacksonville fandom.
I was gonna say I got the flip of that game, which is horrible football. Won another loss, so I mean, I guess they're just rebuilding. They have the interim head coach now. They got rid of Meyer. I don't know. I think I kind of like the move, Byron Leftwich. I mean, he's an OC who's won a Super Bowl. Granted, he has Tom Brady, he has all his weapons there, but I mean, he's capable. He knows how to work in the NFL with a good offense, and I think that's what they need. They need someone from the NFL level. You can't bring in a college coach like Urban Meyer anymore. Bring in someone with the NFL experience, and I think Byron Leftwich, being the popular Jaguar that he was, is I think it's important. But I guess my point about that is, I guess sometimes you get weary when you bring in an old former player, because then you're afraid of, that luster or that flair that he had as being a Jag, goes away if he starts losing all of a sudden. And the fans get restless, and then they're upset with a player who is a good player in their history.
Do you think
the only thing is they're also anxious not just speak to Byron Leftwich, but also speak to Todd Bowles, the defensive coordinator?
Yeah, I saw that.
Who he's not having a great year this year. I think the Bucs defense isn't as good, but last year they were very good. And obviously Todd Bowles, he had experience with the Jets. He wasn't the worst Jets. I think he was the last Jets coach to have a winning record.
As far as Todd Bowles having a winning record, yeah, absolutely. But if you look at the quarterbacks that he had during that time, it was Ryan Fitzpatrick, Geno Smith, Sam Darnold, and I can't. There was another and Josh McCown. And you're asking a brand new rookie head coach to win games with Ryan Fitzpatrick, Josh McCown, Sam Darnold, and Geno Smith. It's not really that fair. When you're talking about it and you think, if you really think about it, that's not fair at all. Like it's one thing to have Sam Darnold, but then to fire him after 1 year, that's a little jacked up. And Geno Smith, IK and Kapali broke his face, and that was the end of Geno Smith. So, but you were saying about Todd Bowles.
Yeah, I think he's another viable option for the Jaguars. I think good defense. I mean, the Jags that year was, I think, 2017. They built a great defense. And they nearly made it to the Super Bowl. I mean, Miles Jack was not down, so they should have won that game against the Patriots on the road with Blake Bortles.
But you also got to remember back then they also had Yannick and Yaku, and they also still had
they had a great defense. Now they had incredible players. I don't think they have that same defense, but I think I'd be happy with either Todd Bowles or Byron Leftwich if I'm a Jags fan, which I am.
So moving on to the Giants. The New York Giants, and I just want to point out that we call them the New York Football Giants because they are, in fact, named after the New York Baseball Giants, who now play in San Francisco. So if you're a Yankees fan, rooting for the New York Football Giants is kind of like rooting for a football team called the New York Football Red Sox, just so you all know.
You're just
putting it out there. No, it's a fact. I mean, Giants and the Yankees had a bitter rivalry. If you're a Yankees fan, to be a New York Giants fan, it would be like rooting for a football team named the Red Sox that play in Brooklyn.
No, I think you're confusing about why Yankee fans are also Giant fans. The New York Football Giants were the only show in town. There was no New York Jets at the time. So a lot of people who are Yankee fans became, if you like football, you like watch football, became a Giants fan. And traditionally, Yankee fans who are longer than the Mets, organizations longer than the Mets, older than the Mets, and then you have the Giants who are older than the Jets. That's why Yankees and Giants fans usually are typically the same. I know you're one of those weird ones that Yankee Jets.
It's because they're fucking front runners. Let's be honest. It's because your great grandpa liked the Giants because they won NFL championships back before there was a fucking real NFL pre-Super Bowl era. That's what it comes down to. Okay.
My great grandfather was from Italy.
My father was a Yankee fan.
The only football he knew was
Mickey Mantle was a stud. Okay.
So anyway, going to the shit show of New York. I thought we just went to dumpster fire to dumpster fire to dumpster fire. We went from the Jets.
The Jets are not a dumpster fire, all right? They're a trash heap.
Okay, they're trash, not on fire yet. Jags are
not on fire more. The fire's been put out.
Yeah, so I said they're not on fire. I said they're just trash.
Oh, there was actually a New York Times article about how the Jets have hope and the Giants don't.
I agree.
So let's talk about the hopeless Giants.
The hopeless New York Giants. You have a head coach who will see a really bad game, coach a horrible game, and then go in a press conference and tell you about, I've saw really good things out there. I saw a lot of positive. I saw a lot of good players. And it's like, you guys scored 3 points in the past, 3 weeks. Like each week you guys come out and score one field goal or a couple field goals, and you're going to tell me you see good things. And then you're not even, we lose games 9-6 or 9-3. You're giving up a ton of points. They got blown out this weekend against the Eagles. They got blown out the week before. It's just an embarrassing thing. You have Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. They shut down Daniel Jones. And even if Daniel Jones was in there, I don't think they'd be any better. They never scored any points. The most they ever scored, I think, was 28 points against the Saints, and that might have been the most in the last 2 seasons. They have not hit over 30 in quite some time, which is
in the NFL. The Jets have hit over 30.
Yeah, and in the NFL that's offense friendly, you should be able to at least score 30 points. So I don't know if it's a coordinator. I don't know if it's a coach. I don't know if it's a personnel thing.
Can't be the coordinator anymore. They fired him.
Well, I'm saying last year, though. Last year, he was still there. So who you blaming at this point? It's a personnel thing at this point. You're just not a good team. You're not a good organization. You need to make changes. I say clean the house. Get rid of Gettleman. Get rid of Judge. I know it sucks to go from your fourth head coach in maybe 6-7 years. But it is what it is. You guys aren't making good choices, not good decisions in the organization. It starts from the top.
It's the front office. It's the front office and the fact that the Maras want to keep everything in-house. And guess what? That's not fucking working.
Not anymore.
They want to sit there and try to control every little piece of what's going on in their organization, and it's not working out for them.
Can't do it.
And the numbers sit there and stare you in the face, and it's obvious, but they want to continue to fucking do it. I mean, who isn't there one of their main guys in the front office who player personnel or something like that? Isn't he like one of the Mara's like grandsons or nephews or some shit like that? Like
Probably.
You're handing people jobs that don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I mean, Gettleman has to go. Like I said it again.
Daniel Jones has to go. He can't stay on the field.
Listen, that's another thing too.
If he could play 16, 17 games a season, you could see it like, listen, it's a stopgap. But at this point, you're paying a guy or you're keeping a guy around as a stopgap that's only going to play fucking 6 games. Mm-hmm. So why? Why do it?
And sources said they're going to stick with Jones. They're going to stick with Judge. And I just don't agree with it. Like, I can't go through another season of being the laughing stock in the NFL. That's what it is. The Giants are. Giants are laughing stock.
I always kind of knew that that Jones wasn't going to work.
But yeah, I never liked the pick in the to begin.
I have a lot. We talked about this a long time. We started the show of the NFL draft, and I remember talking to you during the NFL draft when they drafted Jones, and I didn't feel that their intentions upon drafting Jones were, let's just say, I didn't feel like he was the most talented quarterback on the board at the time, and I don't feel that they drafted him because they felt that he fit the mold of what they wanted, as opposed to, I'm not going to get into what I feel. I'm just going to say is I feel like I'm not going to get into what I'm presuming. I think he just checked boxes on what the Giants think the Giants quarterback should look.
I agree with that. And it wasn't in a talent standpoint.
It wasn't a talent thing. It was he looks the right way.
And it's
he was Eli Manning, but less talented. If you can go that route, I mean, they wanted a Wonder Bread, fucking sliced, plain guy to sit in there, just throw the ball a little bit, take no risks, and that's it. And guess what? You can't fucking do that when you don't have a team around the guy that can catch the ball or run the ball or do anything. I mean, taking Saquon Barkley where they took him was a joke, and every other fucking team in the NFL is laughing at them for it, and every other NFL front office is laughing at them for it. Everybody that's sitting there on doing their fantasy draft is laughing at them.
And also the thing is too, they said, well, Daniel Jones wouldn't have been there at 17 because they had 2 picks that year. Nobody was taking him. Shit. He was going to be there at 17. You could have taken Josh Allen, who plays for the Jags now, not the quarterback, the linebacker Josh Allen, and you could improve your defense, which is a major issue right now.
Nobody was drafting Daniel Jones in the first round. Nobody was.
No one was. It's a joke. It said, tell me that you heard rumblings that he was going to be gone before pick 17, because I think they had 17 as well that year.
I think the Redskins picked before them, and they didn't pick him. I don't think.
No one was picking him. He sucks.
And nobody was picking him. He went to Duke. You don't go to Duke University as a quarterback because you're a great talent. All right. The fact that Michael Jones Michael Carter for the Jets is doing well right now, and he went to Duke is amazing, because how many great football players is Duke putting out? We're not talking about basketball here. We're talking about football.
Football, yeah.
I'm an ACC guy. Duke is never relevant.
No.
Dude, if you're talking about winning getting to the, NCAA Sweet 16 or something like that, sure, you throw Duke in there. But again, who's going to the NBA from Duke?
Wait, I'm sorry. I take it back. Michael Carter went to North Carolina.
So Duke still sucks.
I think, huh?
So Duke still sucks.
Duke football still sucks.
Michael Carter II went to Duke.
But again,
the other Michael Carter, and he's pretty good.
That brings me to, rounding it back to the Jets is, what you were getting from Zach Wilson coming from BYU. Yeah. You know the type of caliber teams he was playing. I think that every Jet fan wants to see, Wilson progress, and he took a step forward this past week. But at the same time, I understand it's not the way the NFL works most of the time, but how much benefit could somebody like Zach Jones get from sitting on the bench for 2 years or 3 years like an Aaron Rodgers and learning and just going through the motions and getting in there when he's ripe and ready to go? I think there's something to be said about getting in there and taking snaps and earning your way and learning, trial by fire. But that's also dangerous as a quarterback, especially with the way the O-line is for the Jets. It's not built up around him. He doesn't have a lot of time in the pocket. I think it's a big gamble. I like Zach Wilson. I want to see him succeed. But at the same time, you got to understand that a big factor is where these guys get drafted from in college and where they played and who they were playing against.
I honestly don't think it makes a difference because Justin Fields is trash and he played at one of the biggest schools in the country. And honestly, Trevor Lawrence doesn't look good either. And he played in and won a few national championships.
But look at the teams around them.
You know what, though? You look at the teams around them and they're successful because their entire team is good.
I'd rather take Zach Wilson at the end of the game. You see his demeanor, you see the type of player he is, than what's his name? Trevor Lawrence sitting there kind of thinking he's the big dick in the locker room, and it's like, it's not on me.
And we talked about
your point against that is Davis.
We'll talk about the draft. We'll talk about the draft, right? We talked about this. You and I spoke about this very briefly earlier today, or yesterday rather. And
Mills.
You and I spoke about it. The number one pick syndrome, where we see Lawrence roll out to his left, start running toward the end zone, and steps out of bounds. Whereas we're probably going to see Zach Wilson fight to get into the end zone there. And that's because Trevor Lawrence has a very Corbin Burnson, Roger Dorn mentality of, I'm not going to sacrifice my body for this collection of stiffs. These guys, I'm the number one pick overall. These guys are bums.
The number one pick of a draft goes in thinking that I'm the big shit and I don't have anything to prove. You have to build a team around me. You know what you're getting with me. I don't have to fucking do anything. It's your job to put players there that I can hit, receivers that are going to get wide open. And guess what? It ain't college. People don't get wide open.
What do you think?
Throw them open.
Team. What do you think?
Well, I was saying before about was Davis Mills.
He's got a big chip.
What's that? I'm sorry.
He has a big chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, and he's testicular. Oh my god, what's it? Testicular.
Testicularly.
His stats are actually incredible right now. I mean,
statistically.
I can't say it right now. It's late. His stats compared to the other rookie quarterbacks are the best. He's number one in yards, completions, whatever number you come up with. He's the top there. So, and he's a guy who is not even discussed about when we talk about Trey Lance, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, and Mac Jones. Those are like the big five names that were there. Davis Mills wasn't there. He went to Stanford. I mean, it's not as good a program as it was before with John Harbaugh, but I mean, look at him now. I mean, the Texans aren't that good of a team, so you can't say Trevor Lawrence.
Roster.
What's that?
Someone called them an XFL roster.
Yeah, I mean, look at Trevor Lawrence is in a shitty team too, but so is Davis Mills, and he's doing the best he is.
You know what though?
And I think that comes back to the mentality though, Nick. That's what I'm trying to. My point was.
I'll say this about Trevor Lawrence's team. And while his team may not be the bee's knees and the cat's meow, I look at some of the names on that team. They used to be really good.
Yeah.
So my question is, and this is my question, and I've always had this question about somebody like Kurt Warner. On the Rams, where he has Marshall Faulk, Torrey Holt, Isaac Bruce, Ricky Prohl, Orlando Pace, an amazing offensive line, amazing wide receivers, amazing running back. He's Hall of Fame. Goes to the Giants. Absolutely trash. To the point where he got benched for fucking Eli Manning, who went a whole career without figuring out which team to throw to. Then he goes to the Cardinals. Kurt Warner does, that is. And he has Anquan Bolden, who I love. You guys know I'm a huge Anquan Bolden fan. Because I'm a Florida State guy, and he's my guy. He came in as a quarterback at Florida State, ended up playing quarterback his last game at Florida State against Georgia in the Sugar Bowl because our starting quarterback got kicked out of school like the week before the bowl game. Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald, and Edgerrin James, and he goes back to his Hall of Fame worthy statistics. Now, so the question is Kurt Warner amazing, or did he happen to have an amazing cast? And is Trevor Lawrence falling under the same thing? Or are his wide receivers the same way? Because who are his wide receivers right now? Because I saw two of them at least. I was like, I know that guy. Wasn't Golden Tate one of his wide receivers?
Not Golden Tate. I can't think of the name right now. I'll look it up. But TJ, you can talk about the.
Well, I was going to say Kurt Warner is one of the classic situations of if a team builds around you and puts players there that you can utilize. If you're a good quarterback, you're going to be able to utilize them. I mean,
they didn't build around him. Those guys were already there when he got.
You know what I mean? If there are pieces in place that he can, hit and he can use and get to his advantage to make plays, he's going to make the plays. And I think that's it goes against it's on the team to build around quarterbacks. So if you take Tom Brady and put him on the fucking Jets right now, are they Super Bowl bound? No. You gotta build a team around your quarterback. And I don't think that goes against how Kurt Warner was. I think Kurt Warner was a great quarterback. But if you don't have people that are going to accentuate your talents, you're just wasting time.
So my question is, does the quarterback lift up the players around him, or do the players around him lift up the quarterback?
I think it's a team sport. So you got to be a team.
Yeah. Really? Because the league isn't treating it that way these days.
No, players don't treat it that way. I'm sick of seeing somebody.
The fans don't treat it that way either. I mean, look at the guys that Zach Wilson's throwing to on Sunday, and there's still fans out there mad that he only threw for like 100 yards passing. Well, who the fuck do you want to? He had to throw a touchdown to an offensive lineman because his receivers can't get open or can't catch a pass.
So did the Jags, though. That was like, what was it, the first time ever two offensive linemen scored a touchdown?
But you know what? It's listen. I've said my piece with Zach Wilson. I said the things that I think he needs to improve on. I think his passes across the middle.
He only missed one on Sunday.
I'm just saying he tends to throw behind his receivers, especially coming across the middle on those cut routes. Those are what I noticed. Those are mistakes that that are easily fixed, and that's a timing mistake, and that's just he's going to improve. But again, if the Jets aren't going to build around him, if they're not going to give him an offensive line that gives him time in the pocket, if he's not going to have receivers to throw to, because the Jets have been hit by the injury bug big time this year, especially the defense. So there's only so much you can do. You can be the greatest quarterback in the fucking world. And if you have a shitty team around you, and I'm not saying the Jets are a shitty team, they're just not there yet. There's a lot of holes and gaps that need to be filled in the offseason. And you know what? They have the fucking money to do it. They have the draft picks to do it. It's all about doing the right thing at the right time and picking the right people in the right places. But there's only so much the best quarterback in the league can do with what they're given, as far as weapons.
So, who are those receivers from the Jets?
Yeah, I got them. Tavon Austin, Marvin Jones Jr., and then Laviska Shenault Jr., who's on the COVID.
I don't know that guy, but Tavon Austin, I know he was a first-round pick.
Yeah, and Laquan Treadwell.
Treadwell played a very good game, and he has a lot of talent. And Marvin Jones Jr. is a former number one receiver for the Bengals. Mm-hmm. So where I'm looking at that, and people are going, well, those guys suck. Any one of those guys is a better receiver than everybody the Jets had.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry.
James Robinson was a running back, but he's injured now.
None of the guys that the Jets trotted out there on Sunday were first-round picks. No. I mean, and I'm not saying that just because you're a first-round pick that you're a stud. I'm saying is you have talent or had talent at some
on the stat sheet. Yes, on the stat sheet, you're walking with talent.
You could catch a football and run a 4.3 without falling down. Like you could do some things that are in a positive manner better than your peers.
Yeah.
Saying, and if I remember right, Tavon Austin was in fact a first-round pick. I mean, he had talent at some point. And same thing with Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones, if I remember right, I feel like he was a Pro Bowler.
But you know what's funny? It's like that first round pick has such a high regard, and I understand you're coming out of college with that talent aspect, but there's no better players than the diamonds in the rough that you get in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. I mean,
I concur. I said, and let's move into the draft. We're talking about this. Let's get into the draft. Both the Jets and the Giants and the Jags have top 10 picks, right? Jets and the Giants have 2 apiece. Jags have right now I think they have the number 1 pick overall right now.
I believe they do.
And the Lions have number 2, which I feel like the Lions have had a top 10 pick for the last 30 years, but whatever. I digress. So what do you think your team is going to be doing with that number, that top 10 pick or 2 top 10 picks? B, do you think it's important where they go with that pick? And then C, what do you hope that top 10 pick brings to your team, to your franchise? And Rook, go first. Go ahead.
So the Giants, I'm really hoping they build up the offensive line. If they're really going to stick with Daniel Jones, then this year's QB class isn't as great as previous years. So I'm not thirsty for that quarterback, I guess I could say.
The kid from Pitt looks good in the second round, though.
Yes, exactly. Someone like that, I'd be okay with. But if you're using those top 2 picks, use it for a defensive lineman for the Giants, or use it for offensive lineman, or one for the other. You know what I mean? Like those are their 2 main things. They need a pass rusher and they need to protect the quarterback. They need to get to the quarterback and protect them.
Just so you know, they're not going to get a pass rusher because even the Jets are 4 right now, they may not get a pass rusher.
No, I know. I'm just saying that
they might have to trade back.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. That's what their main target should be going into this draft. Okay. The New York Giants. The Jaguars, I mean, I don't know. I feel like there's just too many holes. If you just get somebody with great talent there, I think you'll be all right. You'll fill it in because you have the quarterback now. You have the running back. Maybe more protection on the offensive line to give him more time. But
wait, which running back?
James Robinson,
who just tore his Achilles on Sunday.
I know, but I'm saying for next year he should be back. But he may not be the same. But
Achilles is not one of those things that you
like an ACL
automatic.
No, I know, but and you also have Travis Etienne, but Etienne he got hurt. He had the ACL, didn't he? So like,
I'm sorry to laugh. It's not funny. It's just it's
right, but automatically you drop him back in the draft easily.
But you're not drafting running back in the top 10 unless you're the New York Giants and you're fucking idiots. You know,
not at all.
Me, I want to see the Jets just fill holes, and I don't want. I hate this guy should go here, and if he's there, you take him whether you need him or not. I want to see I would love to see the Jets get a cornerback, a nice generational cornerback that could be solid for our defense. I would love to see
quarter, and I was like, what?
Corner. I would love to see a cornerback. Again, the O-line, you could always beef up the O-line. I mean, it's sick the wasted talent of like a Nick Mangold. If we had a Nick Mangold right now, it'd be fucking just amazing. If you think that in the last 10 years, the players that have been on the Jets in different positions and the team just never came together, and what could have been with those moves that they made. I know everybody gets on the Jets for how they draft and what they do, but they seem to do good in the positions that they're trying to fill a space. And it works out versus trying to go for that home run hit first round. This guy's here. We need to take him. I don't think those work out as much as people fucking think.
I agree. As far as the Jets are concerned, I don't think we need a cornerback. I think Eccles is playing great. I think Bryce Hall's, cornerback number 1. The last 6 games, he's given up 15 yards per game as a corner. I mean, what more do you want from a guy? He's given up 15 yards per game or something like that. Something ridiculous. So I don't think that the Jets need a corner at all. And the only corner that would go that high is Stingley, and he's broke dick. And I'm not a fan of drafting a broke dick high because we drafted Hall in like the 5th round after he tore his leg up, and we got him in the 5th round. Look at him now. He's playing at a very, very high level. I do wish we had a pass rusher, right? But all mock drafts are kind of showing us that Thibodeau and Hutchinson are both going to be gone by the time the Jets pick at number 4. Now, that may not be true because Evan Neal might go to the Jags number 1 overall to protect Trevor Lawrence. All right. And if that's the case, then the Jets, by all means, go ahead and draft yourself a Hutch. Go ahead and get yourself a Kayvon, not Kevin, Kayvon, Thibodeau. And he might revolutionize your defense. Here's my problem. A lot of Jets fans are clamoring defense. We need Hamilton. We need Thibodeau. We need Hutch. I'm okay with drafting Tyler Linderbaum in the 1st round in the top 10. And a lot of people are going, you don't draft a center in the top 10. Well, or they're saying all the Hall of Fame centers were not drafted in the 1st round. And that may be true, right? But also take note that Saquon Barkley might be the last running back we see drafted in the top 10. That doesn't make any running back previously drafted in the top 10 any less valuable at that time. We play in a different league now. So you're talking about Nick Mangold. A center is your middle linebacker, is your quarterback for your offensive line. And I don't have a problem with the Jets having a Swiss cheese defense for the next 2 years if it means that Zach Wilson is going to be the best quarterback we've had in 40 years for the next 15 years. Because as many like a constant thing, and I tweeted it the other day. I said, Jets fan, we haven't had a pass rusher in 20 years since John Abraham. Also, Jets fans, we haven't had a quarterback in 50 years. And that's friggin' true. Okay. We haven't had a quarterback since Joe Namath. And I'm okay with using every single pick in the draft to support Zach Wilson if it means he becomes the next Tom Brady, because I'll give up 50 points and lose every game 48-50 if it means that in 3 years we can win games 50-20. It's very simple, because you only have the next 2 seasons to make sure Zach Wilson's your guy. After year 3, if he's not your guy, you have to move on.
You know what? Give me a season where if we lose by 3, but we have the ball with 2 minutes left and we're driving, I'll take that. I'll take that excitement in my life. Fucking A. Like, I love that shit.
I'd rather go 0-16 with a quarterback that I know will be my quarterback for the next 15 years than go 8-8 and have to get a new quarterback every 2 years. Oh, but I have a pass rusher. No team. I'll give you a perfect example. The Giants won 2 Super Bowls in the last 20 years. Who was their Super Bowl MVP? Their fucking retarded quarterback who can't spell his first name, and he was trash, okay? But really, the MVP should have been Michael Strahan and Osi Umenyiora, or even Jason Pierre-Paul. So is the pass rusher making a difference? Absolutely. You're winning the Super Bowl. But when you lose the Super Bowl, it doesn't go on fucking Dante Hightower. It doesn't go on friggin' I'm trying to think, who are some of the pass rushers? Richard Seymour. When the Patriots lose the Super Bowl, it goes on the shoulders of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
It goes on Bill Belichick. So, like, does it really matter who your fucking defensive end is that's sacking people if your quarterback is trash? No, not at all. So I'm okay with the Jets using every pick for the next year. They have like 15 picks this year. Use every single one to help Zach Wilson become the best quarterback he can be. If it means for me that he's going to be my quarterback for the next 15 years, and I don't have to worry about who's going to be my quarterback, it's the single most difficult position to fill in sports.
But I mean, going with your point, I think you're kind of contradicting yourself with the whole because look at Mac Jones. You think Mac Jones is shit, and look at the way Bill Belichick was able to build a team around him and collect wins. I mean, they have a complete team. Everybody that's out there is doing what they're supposed to do, and it seems like the Jets have never had that collective whole team where everybody out there is doing what they're supposed to do. So, but again, that's because he has a solid offensive line and competent receivers and a half decent running game. So when you get a fully competent offensive line, receivers that can actually physically catch a football, because I have zero confidence in anybody in the Jets receiver room other than Braxton Berrios and Elijah Moore, that they can actually receive the ball without dropping it. How fucking quick is Berrios, dude?
Oh,
explosive.
You know, he's like what Brett Gardner wishes he was.
Yeah.
But I think we are. I think we're getting toward the end of our show here. We've talked about our expectations for the draft. Again, my last expectation about the draft is, you know what the Jets need to do in the draft? They need to hit on all their picks. That's it. I don't care who they pick. Just make sure he was worth it.
That goes for everybody, though. Just hit on it.
It doesn't. Because if you draft an offensive lineman, right? If you draft there will still be somebody going, boo, that's trash. Okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
wide receiver. I don't care. If you pick a guy and he's a Pro Bowler and you picked him in the first round, I'm not mad about who you picked, whether it was a receiver, a defensive end, a cornerback, a freaking safety. I don't give a shit. If he's a Pro Bowler, good job. That was the whole point. He was a first round pick, Pro Bowl.
I'm saying you want to hit on these picks, of course.
You know what? I honestly,
team.
Like with this year, I like what the Jets are doing. I like what they've done. I like the pickups that they've made. Obviously, we had some injuries right out the gate before the season even started.
We missed you, Carl.
Yeah. But I mean, I like the head coach. I love the head coach. I love that fire. I love the passion. I love how he's a young guy. He's relatable. He has that fucking passion on the sidelines flipping out. I love seeing that. I don't want to see a Bill Belichick standing there solemn. I don't want to see it. I don't care. I want somebody that's fired up and wants to fucking win. I don't give a shit about draft picks. I want to fucking win.
The last thing I'll say is I think the Jets players actually like each other. And then one more thing to add on to that is I think that Joe Judge is a problem with the Giants simply because I don't think free agents will want to play for him, having heard what happened this past summer where he's dropping veterans in the hallway just because he fucking feels like it.
Let me add one more thing after I was just supposed to wrap up. Add one more thing. It's my impression of you, Nick. Go ahead, wrap it up.
I'm Puerto Rican, all right? We say goodbye forever. I'm not Irish where I just fucking click. I'm not doing the Sopranos over here where the fucking thing just goes black like Irish people do, all right? I'm Puerto Rican. We say goodbye once. We make a lap around the room. By the time we get back to you, it's been 45 minutes. I got to say goodbye again.
How do you compare Italians and Irish like that? What's your problem?
I was a TV show, not a fucking
Yeah, that's fucking TV. It's fiction. Shut your face.
Unbelievable.
There's nothing better than an Irish goodbye. It's like you saw me, now I'm gone.
An Irish guy was the editor of The Sopranos. It just went to black. Nobody understood why.
Nope.
He left. He fucking saying, or they were just like, holy shit, my friend caught a beating because of that. I just want to point that out. Because his dad thought he flipped the channel or some shit.
That's what he gets.
Fucking hating him. He's like, just fuck with the TV. He's like, I didn't do anything.
That's what he gets.
But from all of us here at the Scoreboard Addicts podcast, we appreciate your time. Thank you for spending this with us. We thank you so much. Rest in peace, John Madden. You meant the world to us. From Nick, TJ, Anthony, who's fading. Thank you all.
Yes. And fuck fantasy football. That's it.
Fuck fantasy football. Good night.